Very open.
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah,
good?
we are. Okay, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, I'll call the meeting to order and jump right in, the consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be added to the agenda at this time, the overall agenda, Stephen? Anybody have anything to add to the agenda? No. Okay, I'd like to get a motion to approve the amendment as submitted.
I move to accept the agenda as submitted.
Okay, Sharon, thank you. And I can get a second.
Second.
I'll fudge.
Okay. If I could ask that we approve the consent agenda for the April 26th, 2023 regular meeting minutes and the current pending deposited gift receipts and the statistical report. As submitted, if I could get a motion to approve that.
I move we approve.
There, and I'll get a second on that.
I'll second.
We talk.
It's a tie.
Okay. So we'll jump right in. I don't see anyone from a public comment perspective. We don't have anyone. Okay. So let's just jump right into reports. And Clay, you're going to give the report in lieu of Ruth today. I'm assuming since she wanted to be here but couldn't. Apparently, she got tied up.
That, yeah, said something came up at the last minute. She was unable to make it. But good afternoon, everyone. This is what she passed along a brief report of the Friends activities. Their spring book sale brought in around 13,000. Their half price and bag sale earlier this month. I think they had roughly 5,000 or so. They saw from that. They're working on clearing out the front area, their space on the mezzanine as they've used it, as we'd asked them to kind of pare things back there. I mean, we wanted to retake that space to use for our technical services department. And also their friends are working on looking, since they'll be doing their book sales out of the auditorium. They're looking how to best facilitate that and kind of come up with a procedure. And she also mentions the idea that we presented to them about creating a daily sales area, having a permanent bookstore, if you will, and then on the main floor, first floor of the main library rather. And so they're in process now of trying to figure out what that would look like and what their options. But that's mostly everything. No changes on board members or anything to report this. Thank you.
Any questions for Clay? So it sounds, Clay, like the book sales went actually a little better than expected almost there, right? That was a very successful sound bite.
They had a lot of good stuff that went out the door.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Okay, if we can jump over to Susan for the foundation report.
Everybody, the foundation is continuing to follow up on conversations that were started at the Maya Smart event. We are seeing some opportunities for new partnerships, and there seems to be a groundswell of awareness, and it feels like we're beginning to get some critical mass related to the importance of early literacy, 0 to 5. And those connections to the library. So I know that Scott and Barbara Crump and Beth Morris are all having ongoing conversations. And so I thank the trustees for their support and really helping us focus on that 0 to 5 in children's literacy. I also want to thank the Fan District Association for awarding us a $5,000 grant to assist with summer reading program and summer programs system for the library in this summer, 2023, and summer of 2024. So really excited about that. The Library of Virginia has awarded the library a Welcoming Libraries Collection, which is a curated book collection that is designed to spark conversation around immigration. It is targeted to individuals of all ages, and it's something that we can share out with community partners, schools, nonprofits, and as we get additional information from the Library of Virginia, we'll be sharing that. And then we have additional grants that are continuing to move through the development process. Those include the Memorial Foundation for Children, the RED Foundation, and the Dominion Foundation. We are pleased to share that we've been invited to submit a grant request to the Mellon Foundation as well. So Scott and Chris and Ben and Chloe and Charlie Schmidt, and a couple of other credits are all helping pull together a concept note that's due toward the end of June. So we look forward to keeping you apprised of that process.
Questions specific?
I don't have a question, but I do want to make a comment. Today was the last day that the RVA Reads program was in the preschool centers. And we were over at MLK, and I just wanted to thank her for the hard work for that grant and just to see the enthusiasm on the part of the children, because by going back to the schools over and over time, they know that when those ladies or gentlemen come, firemen, police officers come with the big bags, they know that they get a book to carry home. And this last book was particularly popular because the back of it was stickers. So you got 3-year-olds and you show them a sticker, it was, but it's such a great program, and she's getting more and more volunteers, and I'll just put it out because we'll start up again in October. So if you have a day that you can do a month, anytime, it's just just to see the experiment, but it's a great experiment in early childhood literacy for our city.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Scott, we'll jump over to you for administration.
All right, biggest news I want to highlight is North Avenue's open. We opened. I want to thank all of the staff that helped out on that. North Avenue staff, Cheryl, Clay, Broad Rock sent a contingent of folks over on a Friday to help get books in order. And it was just a pile of books because we just had to jerk them off the shelf as quick as possible. And it was a pile. So the last 3 weeks, we've really been working on putting things back. The Public Works Department's great at tearing stuff up and trying to throw things back in place, but they're not too helpful when it comes to putting it back as it should be. So I don't know if any of you had a chance. We're not done yet. We're open. We could have waited longer. There's still some furniture that needs to be placed, or some things that we want to add. I don't know if any of you have ever had a fire or a flood in your house, and you have somebody come and fix something. Well, then it's like, well, let's paint this wall, let's do that. So we did a lot of that too. You're going to notice kind of some shifting of how that library looks. We can talk about that a little bit more in facilities if you wish. But good news is it's open. You saw from my report where we're going, and people are very happy. They were getting anxious for the library to be reopened. So that's good. I want to thank Craig and everybody and all the folks who helped out make that happen. Last weekend we had the urban fiction event at Whole Street. That was another foundation supported program. It's 3rd or 4th year of that event. And so that was early estimates of people was somewhere between 300 and 400 people.
Wow.
So
Wow.
nice. I do also want to mention, Sharon brought up last month on page 14, there was a question about juvenile programs at West End. There was like a surprising plummet. So Jonna has corrected that. It's 211 actually, and not 11. So I think we forgot the 2 last month. So that's been corrected.
It's not too bad.
No. Another thing I want to mention is yesterday we had a little bit of a retirement celebration for Carrie Phillips. She will retire on May 31st. She is the Library Community Services Manager at Ginner Park. She'd been there for 15 years, so Carrie is retiring, and we wish her all the best in her future endeavors, enjoying her time, hard-earned time off. So we gave her a Virginia Cup and a little celebration. So many of the old friends of the advisory committee showed up, and staff were pleased to celebrate her tenure at Richmond Public Library. And then lastly, I want to show you, you all have a copy of this. I don't know if you've seen it. This is a quarterly publication we've been working on. Another front on our communications and how we're connecting with people electronically. We still have to connect in paper. And so this is just in time because it's going to highlight all of the things that are going to be going on for the next, for summer. So this year, our summer reading program is going to be bigger than ever. This really reflects the effort towards early literacy and learning. You can see all of the things that we have going on. And then some of the big events are, we're going to have an end of the summer celebration, and that's going to be at Maymont. That'll be a big deal. And we also have, we're trying something new, RippleCon. So you've all maybe heard of a Comic-Con. This is going to be a RippleCon, and there's going to be all kinds of stuff that'll appeal to all kinds of folks. So everything from you can dress up in costume, talk about comics, gaming. It's just going to be an extravaganza of crafts and vendors and photo ops. We do have a special guest. His name is Jason Keith, and he is a colorist for Marvel Comics. I don't know if you know how comics work. So there's drawers and there's folks who color, and like, oh, well, you're just a coloring guy. No, it's a really important piece of how a comic comes together. So that's a big deal. Folks will be interested to meet him. I really have to thank Beth Morris and all of the youth service associates across the branches. They've been planning this for the last, well, we pretty much end in September and we start planning in October. So we constantly working on our summer reading program, and this is our big event. So hopefully our numbers continue to rise, and we distribute a lot of books, and we have a lot of engagement during the summer slides. So great to see this come off. We couldn't have done it without our foundation and our friends to help us put this together. And big thank you to Jen Dool and her team. Phil's on her team, and Josh is on our new graphics artist helped us put all this together. So 4-color publication that will appear in all our branches will help us get the message out. So that's exciting.
Anywhere outside of the branches, or will it be distributed outside?
We haven't, I'm not aware of that yet. So inside the branches, we also have, there's an electronic version, so you can pull it up online and look at it as well. But we can look at other partners in the community to distribute it, so I can follow up on that.
Well, I did see another surrounding counties publication at a grocery store. And people were picking it up, and I'm so glad to see this. Crashed my cousin's 8-year-old birthday party and was trying to tell him about all the things going on in the library. I think I bored him to tears, but I will go back and show all of them. See, pick one,
Yeah.
this is wonderful.
Yeah.
It makes a difference, when they can see it rather than hearing somebody talk about it.
I think that's all I have.
So you have, well, okay, we're moving along very rapidly today. Garrett's not here. But Sharon, did you want to talk about advocacy a bit?
Yes, Garrett has written the email and he will get it out. He's still editing. But he sent a message. Well, the email discusses the My Name Smart event and its great ties into our strategic plan to drive for childhood literacy. It also reinforces our appreciation for the investment City Council has made to the library for the upcoming fiscal year. The additional funding we received will allow us to restore programs that will help with childhood and adult literacy, along with staffing and more operational hours. And also, we would like for all of our board members, if possible, to visit your local library and take a picture with some of the staff and, hopefully we get that done, we can like make a collage, something. If you could get that done, I guess, as soon as possible. That would be nice.
Okay. Yeah, I think that, Gary was a little behind on getting the, this out, and he apologized for that. But his timing is still good. I think we're in real good shape on that. We're just coming in, to the summer here, and then, the July 1, new budget takes effect July 1. So we don't really want to start asking for more money for another month or two. We're still in the thank you stage and letting them know all the good we're doing with that, as well as sort of pulling out that other things that we can do if they help us fund it a bit. Chris?
Before I start talking about early literacy, Sharon, Barbara, and I were all at the event at the Black History Museum, which knocked it out of the park. That was so fabulous. So kudos to the foundation and the staff for putting that forward. It was just excellent. Okay, early literacy, our youngest, most vulnerable that we can really make a difference with. When we talked 8 months ago, we wanted to do some Saturday programming, which we didn't have prior. We wanted to work with others in this space, and we wanted to create some new programs. We didn't have the staff or the time to do everything we wanted, but I think we got a lot of boxes checked. The first one to kind of help us go to Saturdays is we were going to hire some college interns for this summer. We got that through the strange HR system of the city and got over 40 applications, which is an enormous response. Scott and Beth couldn't get it down selected to 5, so they interviewed what, 12, 16?
I think it was 19.
19 candidates.
Wow.
So I don't know who, but I feel confident we're going to get some great college kids in to help. It's going to be a real plus for them, nice resume builder, and we're going to give Beth and all the children's team that additional arms, legs, and minds to interact with children. So I'm super delighted about that. You're going to see more Saturday programming than you've ever seen before. You're going to see more specialists, cooking, animals. I mean, it's a really rich offering. And while we really wanted to do the 5-year-old get ready for kindergarten boot camp, we just didn't have the ability. We were able to work with VPM, the Children's Museum, Excel, and the Richmond Public Schools to do family fairs in several of our libraries, north and south, where our most poor, disadvantaged population are. And the fairs are on Saturdays. We always have an RPS person there to help get people signed up and answer questions, but we have a myriad of other resources in a fair, fun, fair type atmosphere. All of the participants from the different organizations have worked so hard with us to pull this off. So we're hoping it's going to be a success. But I'm designing the evaluation criteria for it right now, which the participants will tell us what we did right and what we did wrong. And we'll make sure at every fair, we get participant feedback. If it's good, we'll make it better. If it doesn't hit the mark, we'll come up with another idea next year, but we'll have actual data to determine what's a success and what isn't. So I hope we have a good summer, and I hope we continue the push and do more and more in future years.
When will the interns start?
June 3rd at Broad Rock. And I love the little write-up in the minutes about the Broad Rock Day of the Child being oversubscribed, and they ran out of popsicles. That is such a good sign.
That Chris said, sounds, I mean, you just, kudos for the wonderful work you have just spearheaded, Russ, so many different groups together and really moved us forward a lot further than, why not, we do hope, but a lot further than we thought we could get this year.
It's
with
what,
limited.
it's what the trustees do. So I was delighted to have the opportunity.
You did a wonderful job with it. Let me ask, you did mention the, that, pre-K, the initiative there. Is that still a goal for next year? And
So-
is it funding? Is it a research?
Oh, well, we need tons more money
I
to do
want that,
everything we want
No, but I'm
to
just
do.
wondering, you know, when you said
So-
you
so
weren't
we're-
able to do that one yet.
So here's what my vision is, and it is absolutely Beth Morris and Scott's call.
Mhm.
But my vision is I've identified 3 other libraries who do these programs. Soon as we get through this summer, I'd like to arrange phone calls with Beth and the people who did those, just to get a librarian to librarian experience.
Mhm.
And if Beth and Scott like the idea based on other libraries' experiences, then I hope it will go back in. But I would like to have other libraries. I like that
Yeah.
cohort to cohort experience. I would also like us to do some more programming with babies and mothers.
Mhm.
And I have 2 libraries, one in Cedar Rapids, one in a place I have forgotten the name of, who have piloted very successful baby and mothers. You know, as soon as the baby is born, they get a library book with, I mean, they
Yeah.
each look a little different. I'd like to connect Beth with those practitioners. We don't have to think of every program. We can take good ideas other libraries have thought of and twist it to our need. So yeah, I think, but it's not my call, it's the library's call, but I'll be encouraging.
Thank you. And I would just say that as we get, and Sharon and Garrett will be leading this up, but as you start looking at those things, putting price tags on some of that will be helpful for going out there and saying, we could do this, a mother, you know,
Yeah.
newborn mother program.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna cost this much, but here's a good example, here's
Yeah.
what was done in Cedar Rapids, whatever, I can't remember what you just said, but, you know, and how well it works, and you're right, taking the best from what's been tried out there,
Mhm.
sure makes a lot of sense for us,
Right.
so.
And the libraries that I have identified good practices with and contacted, they're excited somebody wants to hear
Sure.
what they're doing. I mean, they don't like to be in a silo. My whole experience in this effort has been people want to work together and make the world a better place. So yeah, I think we're on our way. We need that early literacy person. Poor Beth has everything.
Yeah.
My job is to press Scott.
That's okay.
And you're,
And I was just gonna say, if you need additional pushing there.
speaking
I
of,
looked at Scott.
yeah. Yeah, but I think Scott's really happy with the way everything's gone too.
I have just one question on these readiness fairs that you.
Right.
Plan, what's the time period? They're starting at 10:30, is it?
And they're to go for 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah. But we'll stay until everyone
Okay.
leaves.
Excellent. I don't have a official report today. Things are moving along. Scott covered North Avenue being open again. And his report I thought was very comprehensive as far as the staffing and things where some of the issues that we've been trying to solve seem to be moving along toward you know, it just, as you alluded to, Chris, it sometimes seems dealing with the HR and things in the city. We keep saying things on the schedule and well, why haven't we filled this? Why haven't we filled it? But progress is happening on a lot of those fronts. So I'm real pleased with the way we are on that. Scott, did you want to talk finance for Garrett?
Only thing.
Budget was approved.
Yeah, budget was approved, so an increase in funding for more hours, more people is coming. So starting July 1, overall about a $1.2 million increase in our overall budget. Again, what the city's also done with that is they raised their starting minimum salary to $18. They're also giving an 8% wage increase across the board to all city staff, including library. For us, it should add about 5 FTE positions into the system. So with those, we'll fill those positions like early childhood literacy coordinator. Also, part-time and full-time people to help expand hours. So restoration of Sundays at Maine, expansion of Sundays possibly to, or restoration of Sundays to Ginter Park. And they would like to see Sundays at West End. So in that way, we would have Sunday hours pretty much north, south, east, central, north, south, west, central. East, we'll hopefully get more hours as as budgets improve and the library grows. We could add an east location. Really, between Hull Street and East End, the main library is very close to those, so we pick up those folks. A lot of focus will be on the main library because again, that's our largest location. It's centrally located. That's where we really want to focus a lot of our Sunday programming at, big program. So those are the big ticket things that are coming. Right now, I'm working with staff to figure out how we're going to ramp that up.
Okay, so on the budget, we're pretty much good for the year as far as we know what they're doing on the labor costs with the 8% and the $18.
That's the city's concern. Yeah.
Right. So next year we'll be dealing with any changes from the union efforts and things like that, or not?
I can't.
Not this year though, right? We're clear for the year as far as being here. We're not gonna get a surprise, what I'm at.
The only thing I can report on that is that bargaining units are being declared and determined. They're determining what classifications will be designated to the union. Most of our people are going to be union employees, so only probably LCSMs and administration will not be in the union.
Okay.
And all that will become effective as soon as it gets voted in. So I don't have all of the details on it. They're having elections. Police, I think, have already selected and informed the city of their union. Fire, they already have kind of a union in place. They will probably be appointed soon. I'm assuming that it'll just roll. I'll be surprised if SEIU doesn't get the union collective bargaining contract for the rest of the city workers. They only have to get 30% of a plurality. So it's I would be shocked if that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
I was just wondering what the effect might be. So this year's budget won't be affected, maybe next year.
I don't know how it will affect the library's budget in terms of costs, in terms of wages and benefits. Those are all going to be controlled centrally by city administration. The CAO's office, human resources, budget and finance are responsible for determining how those bargaining agreements will play out.
Okay.
And it's really in their hands. I
Mhm.
don't have I don't have as much information as,
No one
because I don't know that
sounds like
anybody
right
really knows
now.
right
No
now.
one knows right now. Okay.
Elections will continue, bargaining units will be determined, and then we'll go forward from there.
That's something I was just thinking that Sharon and Garrett will need to be thinking.
Right.
I assume that as the city does it, they'll recognize any increase or decreases that it wouldn't expect in that labor cost. So we're not surprised by it. So we'll see as we get closer.
Yeah.
but
I think they're still working out a lot of the details.
Yeah.
You know, city council, it was a unanimous decision by
Yeah,
city
right.
council to authorize the collective bargaining.
Mhm.
The collective bargaining was brought forward by the mayor.
Yeah.
So the city leadership, political appointments, this is their process. They endorse this, so. Our job is to follow their
Yeah,
direction.
I'm just thinking about it because of the 1.2 million increase in the budgets. A reasonable amount of that went to the
Oh, it'll go to
8%
wages.
increase.
Yeah,
So we're gonna have the same type of situation that we're gonna be looking for more. But our wage base is gonna go up. So some of the programs that we want to do are gonna require something on top of that, just
we're kind of gonna be in the same place because
right.
costs have gone up. funding has gone up, but costs have also gone up. So we're gonna continue to make those efforts to work with the foundation and the Friends to raise those dollars that city dollars can.
But we want to keep pushing to get new programs above rather than just let's keep the numbers there. So, okay, Janet and Gail, I guess, anything on the facilities?
Well, we did a bunch of emails
We had a lot of discussions about
about,
master plan. for
about my
branches.
idea for defining the ideal branch.
Okay. Anything you want to share yet on it? It's just, no, you're working away and it's in that black box somewhere.
We're working on
We're thinking,
Okay.
it. Was funny, I ran across a report Ben showed me for the 100th, and it was a 1964 comprehensive plan for the city of Richmond. And it had a couple pages on the library. And it talked about how main library was central. We were at 40,000 square feet then, and they wanted to take the library to 80,000 square feet because the central library was the main piece. And then they had 5 other branches at that time, and they were where the branches arrived eventually. And then, they just talked about how the library had perceived. And at that time, they're talking about libraries need to have welcoming spaces and all of the amenities we're talking about now to help people connect with information, connect with literacy and learning. So I found, I should share that with you. It's a very nice little report about the things they were talking about in 64 are many of the same things we're talking about now. So we continue to do our job in facilities of like assessing, saying what we need, and really just adapting as libraries evolve. So I think that's the discussion we're having. Gail's concerned about money. It's like, when are we gonna get our money?
we said, Gail, just stop.
Yeah, Gail's good about that.
I like
There's a
that.
bottom line
idea.
about
I
it.
like that.
But she's thinking the practicality of things that,
Well, you have to dream big first.
like,
Well, and what was interesting was, yes, we want to double the size of the main library in 1964, and it's in the construction improvement plan. So even then, it was CIP governed how the city builds its building. All of these buildings were built by the city of Richmond, so they're the ones that determine how we're going to expand, because if we have an expansion of Maine and it's $100 million, then that's what we'll follow the process. That's what they did in 64. That's what we're gonna do in 2024. So,
Wait a minute, now you're up to 100 million?
oh, it's growing all the time,
Poor Gail.
70 or 100 million.
But is it fair to say that since our last meeting that we need to do one master plan at a time, and that the discussion about branch libraries can be, reduced to a general size goal, needs goal as far as meeting rooms and public spaces, those kinds of things?
I would say that would be the beginning document.
Yeah,
So a
yeah.
document that declares, these are the things that these are the wants and needs that we're hearing from the community in
Right.
terms of their branch libraries. And I do believe we need to do a master plan for the branch libraries, because I think the buildings need to be either expanded or adjusted. This is a very small branch serving a neighborhood that's very densely populated, and the density is only going to increase. So the needs for this space will change. You're basically in the meeting room right now. This meeting room is one of the smallest we have. We can't have programs that can accommodate. I can't have 30 children in this room. And we might have story times or children or baby lap sit programs that we can't do it in this space. And yeah, you can say, okay, we can do 2 different sessions. Well, it's kind of hard to do 2 sessions because is it at 10:30 or 11? Making that work is maybe not adapting to our community's need. Because if I have 30, then I'll have 60, then I'll have 90. How do I make this space work for that many groups? And we don't have enough staff to do all of that. So adapting the space and growing the staff is where we need to go. That's going to be our perennial issue.
to sort of
So a guiding principle document, like what we were talking about, these are the ones it needs. We do also need to do a master plan for the branches and get that started in the next 3 to 5 years. 1 to 5 years.
Let's get the main library done.
So
Well,
are you worried about competition between?
Yeah, money comes down to get the money to do another master plan. And I think we need
So I
to,
think the money issue is rightly focused on the main, but I think what we're talking about with the branch plan is not immediately tied to money. It's more, here's what the ideal branch should have.
Yeah.
but he's saying something different.
Right. I
No,
was
he's
gonna say, I
saying we
think-
need a
I think
plan.
we've got two
We need a
different
plan.
things, don't we?
And a plan plus money.
But you're feeling that, well, if we start on this branch master plan, we take our attention away from Maine. which I
No,
don't-
well, I'm not saying that. I'm
It's
just
not a-
saying to propose to the city to give us money for another master plan for the branches. Does that make sense right now when we're not finished one plan yet?
What do y'all think? I mean, my view is if what Janet's saying, we need the first document, and Gail, I think you're there too. We need to say, this is what a branch should be able to do. You know,
And I-
maybe this many square
Right.
feet, this much space for this, that.
And
That's
I'm
it.
not sure we're at the stage of saying we need money to hire professionals to do
Right,
that.
but that is the next step after that.
Is that what you're saying?
Would
That
be.
we can just come up with it ourselves? Okay, well, that's fine.
I'm saying a basic document.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
based on principles that are out there for what we need in our branches.
Right.
Yes, we can create that ourselves.
Okay.
as a
Yeah,
board.
yeah.
We do that internally, and that's sort of where Janet was starting, like that's that. document.
That's where I am in the
Okay.
process. I'm not ready to hire.
Like, I don't think any of us are.
Right.
I think we
Wow.
need to be prepared to do that.
Yes,
Because I believe we need a master plan for the branches. So that if an opportunity arises that says, wow, what if this building isn't big enough, we know that we need 30,000, we need 20,000 square feet to serve the Westover Hills neighborhood. There's property over here, maybe that's a better deal than trying to blow this building up and take it taller. If we don't have something that backs that up, we can't answer that question. So that's why I say we need that, because that could occur.
Mhm.
And it should occur.
Yes.
With the
I mean,
way
I'm-
the city is blowing up as far as, people coming here. We need to start looking at these, where the population is increasing now. And where there's land available, because every available space in Richmond is being grabbed up now, so if we need to expand or go somewhere else, we need to hop on it now.
Yeah, and I think Sharon's very right on that. I harp on Belmont sometimes because it's our smallest, tightest branch
Mhm.
and in a growing area, but also because we're hearing about opportunities. Brent's brought one possibility to us, but another one that was raised. Those won't be here 3 years from now. If we go through a master plan with an outside architect, we work through this. I mean, is my gut.
Right.
That,
So-
that something will happen to those, and we do not want to miss those opportunities. So is there a way that we can do that? Here's what a branch should look like. Get everyone's agreement on these are the. I don't
Not
know
only-
physically what it looks like, but I mean, this much space for this much meeting rooms and how it functions.
Mhm.
And then sort of as people see opportunities. Be able to go forward with, hey, we think there is something at the corner of blank and blank that. We could trade for possibly and do things, rather than having a master plan. If we go through a master plan, we're looking at similar to the main renovation master plan. We're looking at 6 months before an RFP could be issued probably. We're looking at 3 or 4 months for a contract to be issued after that, and then we're looking through a 9 months, and then we're looking at another year. We're really 2 years down the road, and if some of these opportunities that have been brought up, 2 years, they're not gonna be available. And I think we need to put that other document together, and then, the city looks at these things all the time without full master plans. I think, maybe not. But I think if we had an opportunity and a developer came in and said, I'd like to take this branch and renovate it and use it for X, and I'll give you this and I'll do that, that those are things that the council looks at as opportunities.
I also think we need to look at, like, kind of come up with a plan for alternative, spaces. You know, there are lots of buildings, all these apartments and condos are built there. Many of them have downstairs spaces where they put in little restaurants or whatever. But, you know, I don't know about us getting enough land to build any more branches, but we can certainly satellite around the city, but I'm sure that would require things like zoning changes and all kinds of permissions and all that, and, you know, we'd have to accommodate adequate parking and those kinds of things, so we need to look at now, because with the, I think there's something out there now where they're trying to eliminate having enough parking spaces if you build something, you know, we need to look at those kinds of things, you know, as well, because they're gonna impact, you know, visitation, access.
I'll throw out a wild idea. Should we ask someone who knows the city development process and has worked with it in his prior life and his current life, still does maybe a little bit? You know, as some of these new buildings go up, as you said, you know, is the city asking? Hey, you know, they're asking for different things. I mean, they're offers that are given when this city does these things. And they're saying, well, we need money for the school. You're gonna bring this many more students in. We need X dollars from you to help us deal with the school. We need for this and that. Is the library represented in that process right now? My gut tells me we're really not. And that's not a knock on Scott. It's not the way the system has been structured. Maybe we need to ask if someone like Brent, who is intimately familiar with some of these, could liaise with the right people in the city to say, when you're doing these, you know, you're doing something big in Scott's Addition, you know, maybe we need some space in there to deal with all those new people you're coming in. They're gonna overload Belmont. Give us, you know, 2,000 square feet that we can have open as an offshoot branch, you know, for 2 hours, 3 nights a week or something. You know, who knows? It's because staffing becomes all kinds of issues become in there.
All of the new stuff you're talking about costs.
It costs
our
money.
Operational budget, so we can't even look at it until we have the commitment to grow the operations and the personnel like we need to.
But I think that's a chicken or egg
You
issue.
have a dream before you ask for money, so I think.
And that's
that
why I said we
you know,
need a
we
master
can't just
plan.
say,
We
give us
did
more
that.
money because
We
we
can't.
want to do some things, this is what we want to do, and this is what the money needs to look like.
And guiding principles can be, you know, even your phraseology, the ideal library. I mean, that's aspirational, but it also is fact driven.
Yeah.
And we need to start that document, not a master plan, but we need to start the guiding.
Janet did it in an email. We have it.
And that document's enough.
What you
I think,
wrote, I think is
to
all
talk
we need. A page.
to other people in the city administration, hey, you know, X is coming open on, you know, this sort of fits our kind of thing. We don't even have a master plan. We don't have a budget on it for building it. But as an example, and that's different than say putting an offshoot in the building in Scott's Addition. But if we said, okay, we're gonna take Westover Hills and, you know, the Vale wants to expand over here. They like the building, whatever, okay, fine. Give that to them in exchange
Yeah.
for something else. You know, I mean, these are just things that I just think we're not getting.
But
You know, and
that,
they do this
yeah,
with community
to
centers, as an
your
example.
point,
Those
that
could be-
document, once it's all. However, Scott and his team add the rigor to it. That could be just a nice, fun chatting point for Brett to mention to, you know,
Somebody else.
we're
Right.
always thinking here at
Yes.
RPA.
Yeah.
And they're always looking at incentives to bring people here to build things. Why not, you know, we'll give you, you know, discount, whatever, if you give the library a 50-year lease for spacing, you know, the building you want to build or something like that, you know.
CVS is closing
first floor,
stores. Do
you
we
make
know
a
whether
very
they're
good point, Sharon, first floor tenant, you know, being a first floor tenant, and even something in the new
Yeah.
diamond district
Right.
would be a nice,
And maybe it could tie in with other things they're thinking about putting in there as
Yes.
far as. Other you know, this is maybe the partnering with Parks and Rec a little bit on some of what they want to do, or the, I mean, in the years past, I've been dealing with, you see, after school programs. A great example right now, you drive down Forest Hill and you see, high school, Huguenot High School sitting there. And then the back behind it is a community center, which I assume somehow the school system and somebody else put together. I don't know how well that's used. You see fair amount of traffic going into it and stuff, but I just think that if they're building stuff, like you said, in the Diamond District, it's Scott's Addition, we're seeing stuff going on in Manchester like crazy. It's spreading out this way further. I mean, we've got all of these pockets, and I don't know what's gonna happen. None of us know what's gonna happen. You know, whether the council is gonna approve a casino referendum again, in June. And if it does, whether it's gonna pass in November. If it does, though, you know, obviously that's something that we don't have anything down in the ninth and Riva in her area down there,
Yeah.
you know.
It's perfect.
If we just go to the city and say, here's our plan, and you need to come up with 100 to renovate Maine and another 100 to do branches. It's a lot harder to get those 200 in my view, than to say, we've got 100 sitting over here for Maine that we really need you to give us. And by the way, we also have a need for a branch down near the casino, and this much can come in from this and that. I mean, we may have to take a little more proactive than just the CIP folks. Who we're gonna be sitting for a long time, just like that 64. It took them a long time to get through the CIP.
Right.
We don't have 60 years on it. Anyway, so I guess what I'm asking is, I don't know whether we need to do anything, Jan. We don't probably need to, right? Okay, thank you. I am gonna, as board chair, appoint, if I haven't already, Brent, add him to the facilities committee. Okay, and I'm gonna let you and Gail, I think you're already on it,
Right.
but okay, I couldn't remember whether we had, but I'm gonna ask that maybe we put Brent in that position of liaising with the city leadership and development groups to see whether there are opportunities, and sort of bring them both to the board here, and that also ties with the foundation, Susan. I mean, I know John's been a little bit tied up on things, but he's willing to look if we came up with opportunities. You know, he was talking about partnering on some of the renovation of Maine. I'm sure that would be the case with other opportunities too, so. Okay, so anything else on facilities? I mean, no big emergencies or anything, at least, right?
We need to have a meeting, don't you? Sooner than later.
Okay. Emily, governance, is there anything?
John has sent out an updated roster of membership. Updates there are that Chris, Janet, and I were all eligible for reappointment. For additional 4-year, for one additional 4-year term, we all are reappointed. We took our oath.
That was good to say. And you were done before your appointments expired even.
Oh,
That was not, it was nice to see that. No openings coming up anytime soon, it looked like, looking at that, I think we're all good.
believe
see anything.
the next one is next year.
Yeah, I'd say nothing for a year, and then you have a bunch of us who roll off next June. We'll have to start, just. Gail, I think you were on that for June, I'm on it for June, and not reappointable, because that's my second term.
Actually, I think you are reappointable because your first was a.
And I think I'm finishing my,
You were like me, you filled in a.
I did,
empty
but I'm
spot.
thinking that and maybe I am, okay. I have one more possibility, okay. Anyway, we need to look at that and figure out, because to get people like the crew we got and all singled out, Chris and Brent and you, and Sharon, that Dave Whittier pulled together. It was a many months process to find the right people to do that, so just ask you to. January, February,
Yes.
that we had that on the target.
And if anyone, I already have one contact that I've been in contact with. I think she would be a good person, but if you have any contacts, we can start chatting with them. I can keep their names around,
So,
be in touch.
I'll just throw this out. I think it might be good as we're talking about the ideal branches to begin thinking about the ideal board of trustees. Do we want members from each district? Do we want a certain kind of ethnic diversity? What does do we want certain skill sets? To begin to create that vision of where are we going as a board? You develop it, but we all input and you listen to us or you don't listen to us. But we don't have that sense
And
of
we'll
what we
vote on
want.
who those people are. So
Yeah.
and I think our input is important and
Yeah.
we do have some say in it.
Yeah, but we haven't thought through this
Yeah.
yet.
We haven't, and
And
that's something that Emily maybe can lead us through. I mean, my view of it is that you had 3 points that are all good. I would take them from the back end first, the skills. Because I think that if you look at the board that we have now, the reason it's functioning well is really very much on the skills. That we realize we have some weaknesses in different areas. We have weakness in finance, rolling off, we had a weakness in construction side of facilities with some changes there. We had a lack of contact with the school system. And we really looked at that and said, okay, these are things that are necessary to make the board be able to do all the different things we do. And that worked really well. So I'm completely behind you on that. I think we need those, we need to say who's rolling off, what skills are we losing? And make sure we're putting them back in there, part of it.
Yeah, but I think we can do more than that.
We can do more than that.
I think we can do more than that. The other thing two other things. Let me tell you how to do your job. No, I think I would like to see us try people out. That candidates come in and they support the advocacy group. They support if we get a good candidate, I don't want them sitting waiting for 2 years before they get involved. I'd like to see them serving.
And we have the ability.
I know.
For non-board of trustee members to serve in any of those type of advisory committee.
Right.
And in fact, an example of that, I don't know the Garrett's taken him up on, is a former board member, Dave Litter, who volunteered to do things. And is very active in the north side, lakeside, north side, Center Park area and so on. Garrett and David and I met months ago to sort of say, here's a resource you can use.
Yeah.
And David's technically on that. I don't know that he's been used tapped as well as he could have yet.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of those kind of people out there, and you're right.
Yeah.
So if we have somebody who thinks we think could go on the board down the road.
When Emily gets a hot one, I don't think we want them to wait in the wings for 2 years when we have an opening. We wanna, and
We can't
it
bring them on the
helps,
board of trustees.
it helps the
but we
skill
can-
base, it helps a lot of
does.
things. So think about that tool, whether it's useful or not.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would suggest, just throwing it out there as part of the strategic plan, isn't how we onboard. What we get is we get this tremendous and thorough 3-ring binder. Maybe we should have someone sit with us for an hour and talk us through instead of just coming right in, maybe there should be a different option to the way we onboard our new board members. And doing it a year ahead of time lets you, because I know you're conscientious, you think through things and lets us all spout off with whatever we think should be done.
And I'll add that I respect our council, the city council, and their job is to, so many different jobs, but as far as we're concerned, one of their jobs is to approve. If we bring them good candidates, ones that we want that are gonna fit well and do what we need, then they'll approve them. If we don't, then they'll pick people with whoever's contacted them and said, hey, I'd like to be on board or this or that.
Well, that's how I got on the board,
Right.
was
We
I
got lucky
couldn't,
on that.
yeah, that's how I got on the board. So I don't know that that's a bad
It's
thing.
not bad, but I think we need to give them, they're not gonna vet people to the same level that Emily will. Okay, as far as knowing
That
what we
is
need.
absolutely true. At the
Okay.
same time, it's a negotiation.
It is, it is.
Yeah, so that's all to say, if you have contacts, please let me know. We can talk about them. We can bring in other people from this from our membership to talk about other people and where we can put them. To learn more about them and see whether they're a good fit. We've got time to do that. So the more names we have, the better off we'll be when we really want to fill a position, because we'll have options.
Do we have the opportunity to expand the numbers of board members? Not necessarily affirm, what are we, 12 now? Or 9, only 9 now, right?
9, John.
It's the charter.
Council would have to like approve that. We'd have
I'm-
to fashion something.
And I'm not saying that it has to be 15 or whatever, but saying up to a certain number. So if there were an opportunity to bring in district diversity, ethnic diversity, in addition to skill set, which I agree, I think it's been important for the last few years. That we
And
have an
I would say as
opportunity
far as
to do that.
districts, We don't have every district represented, but we do pretty well with it. Some
Not really.
districts,
No, I don't think so.
I don't think we do well
I
at all.
don't think so.
Yeah, yeah.
we haven't, who don't we have represented?
6, 7, 8, 9. I
Do you have
think.
any of them right now? Okay, I didn't realize that. I guess we've had some people who've been pinch hitting in a few of
And
those.
do we have
as far
somebody
as
from the, we
contact.
have somebody from your third, right? Yeah.
I mean, I
And
know,
that's the 6, 7, 8, 9 are the areas where there's potential growth, maybe for new branches and this kinds of things, and needs.
that's.
I know.
It's a tricky one, honestly, to me, the city is small enough. That whether someone lives on the east side of the boulevard or the west side isn't as critical. I mean, you like the general area.
Yeah.
Well, I would just say.
The river, I think, is the big.
Well,
divide.
yeah, no, we need
Don't
people
have-
south of the river, we need people in each general area.
Right, right.
So I mean, I do, then that's what I was thinking, we had a little more of that, but maybe not. Okay, so. Just some guidance there, maybe. I'm gonna ask, I don't have any unfinished business, you don't either, okay? Is there any new business anyone would like to bring up? I don't have anything that I haven't already brought up. Anything else?
Not new business, but Brent, it doesn't have to be good stuff, but you brought up a couple of really huge, but I'm not gonna say unrelated opportunities for the library to bid in on innovative cities or, or did they just,
The tech
there's
hub,
no wrong answer to this. but-
the US Department of Commerce Tech Hub grant has
Yeah,
evolved.
Tech Hub grants,
Now
right?
that has evolved into a regional initiative where they're looking for a consortium of a group, like I'll use Raleigh Durham as an example, the
Yeah.
research triangle.
Research Triangle, yeah.
So I know Raleigh Durham is going after the grant. I think there's gonna be 22 grants awarded to 22 different areas within the United States. But they're looking not for an individual,
So it's really
Like,
complicated,
it's
yeah.
more regional. It's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that the Greater Richmond Partnership or the would have to pursue on that grant. Now,
Yeah.
the recompete, I haven't heard any more about the recompete.
That was the loan, wasn't it?
Well, the loan was that was a different, that was the Department of Transportation. The recompete grant was where it's an underserved area. That's where we were thinking maybe being able to tap into the, like Rebus district and go after a grant for that. I think that's gonna follow behind the Tech Hub grant. So that may be something in the future, but currently the US Department of Commerce is focused on this Tech Hub grant. Applications are due August 15th. For the first phase of the first cut, and then I don't know how long it's gonna take them to get to the end, but we're, I know I'm getting emails from them, so hopefully we'll get an email on the recompete grant once I get to that point.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, no new business. I'm gonna ask for motion that we adjourn.
I moved to adjourn.
Sharon, a second.
Second.
Boy, Janet didn't get it. Thanks, you know. Okay, all right.
She's tired.
Any opposed?
We get a
No.
second in.